All right, welcome to our webinar, Preparing Your Red Raider for Off-Campus Living. We are excited to have all of you joining us today. My name is Christine Self with Parent and Family Relations, and joining me today are Kelly Turner and Sarah Albertson from University Student Housing. This webinar is part of our Red Raider Family webinar series, where we share information on topics of interest to parents, families, and supporters of our students. We hope this webinar will help you better understand what to expect with your first-year student living off campus and some of the support resources to help them be connected. We plan to keep this webinar to about 30 minutes or so. If there's time at the end, we'll open it up for questions using the Zoom Q&A feature. In the meantime, feel free to type your questions in that Q&A feature throughout the presentation. We do have some folks behind the scenes who can help answer your questions. We are recording this session and posting it to our website so that you'll be able to review it again later or share it with others. We'll also email the recording link to the email that you use to register for the webinar, and you'll also have access to these slides. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to turn it over to Kelly Turner.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you for being here today to discuss off-campus housing. We're dedicated to making sure that our students feel part of the community, just as our on-campus students feel welcome, regardless of where they're living. I'm going to discuss what we're offering those students who have secured a space through University Student Housing. We have a little over 500 of you that have a campus secured space. And then I will bring in Sarah Albertson, who's with our off-campus housing office, and she will discuss what she can do to assist you in finding an off-campus space of your own. So let's get into it. So the Red Raider experience extends beyond where you live, and we want to make sure no matter where you are that you feel welcome and a part of the campus community. We have secured three properties just off campus for our students. These are master leases that Texas Tech has signed. For those that we have assigned, please know that you will be billed just as if you lived off campus. TTU administration and the housing staff administrators have vetted these properties. We've toured these properties. We know what they have for you, and we're making sure that it is a secure and safe space that you will enjoy. We also are providing CAs at each of these properties like we do on campus, and they're a great valuable resource for you. They have been there, they've done this, they know what to expect and how to direct you to the right people if you have any questions. These properties will provide a connection for the campus residence community and the student experience while giving you access to programs and additional resources and support services that I'll discuss here in a few minutes. We want you to successfully transition to campus life, even if you are just off campus. You're billed through Student Business Services in late July, along with your tuition and fees, just as if you had an on-campus space. So if you've secured grants, loans, scholarships, just understand that you'll be billed the same way. It goes towards your tuition and fees first, and then it will cover, the remainder will cover your housing and dining. So dining plan options. For those of you that are living just off campus, we are offering a fearless dining plan, which is exclusive to these students, these freshmen incoming students who are living just off campus. And it is a few less dining bucks for a lesser cost. If you have the email explaining your initial assignment, then there's a link for you to click there. And Sean is also putting it in our chat, so you can access that if you would like to look at that lesser priced dining plan. Since you're in a full-size apartment with a full kitchen, you may not want as many dining bucks while you're on campus. Also, your academic year housing rate that you have on campus, just off campus, includes utilities and general parking. there is a parking form that we need you to fill out. You will be getting more information on that in the next day or two and at your TTU email, so keep checking that email, explaining how to fill out the parking form. And you will have, it's required for you to get an assigned space in general parking. If you desire covered parking at these properties, feel free to talk to the apartment complex about adding that as for you as a cost. That's not something that we will cover. We also offer the free satellite parking for those people that we have placed off campus and commuter satellite parking. But honestly, I don't believe you will need it. All of these properties are just on Glenna Goodacre Boulevard, right across from the university. And the city bus routes go every 5 to 7 minutes in either direction, taking you on and off campus. And any of the city bus routes, it's free with your Tech ID. So a lot of you are going to either want to walk or just take the bus. It's much easier access for you that way. We also offer additional support through something else that we're offering is Raider Ready, which is committed to helping every student build a strong connection and a foundation for success, whether it's academics or in getting involved on campus. You're going to receive more information about that in an email by the end of the week. This is a 1 credit hour first year seminar designed to help students build community and discover campus resources and develop strategies for academic success and help you acclimate yourself to your freshman year on campus. As a student living in one of these off-campus properties, where Texas Tech is providing the course at no additional cost, and you'll receive additional information with everything you need to know. Sean is also going to put information on that in the chat for you. All right, we can go start looking at the properties. The first one there is Park East. All three of these properties that we have partnered with are fully furnished apartments. There's nothing that you need to bring in the way of furniture, unless you want to bring an extra little bookshelf or chair, something like that. It has high-speed Wi-Fi and an in-unit laundry. There's private group study spaces and a 24-hour coffee bar, fitness center, resort-style pool, as you see in the picture, and there are grilling stations, fire pits, and controlled building access. So you do have that safety feature there. Our next property is The Block, and this has high-speed gigabit internet, premium cable, also an in-unit washer dryer, so that's a nice plus. Private study rooms, smart TVs. This one has a rooftop lounge and resort-style pool, Starbucks coffee bar, all that good stuff, barbecue areas, and the courtyard is nice to have indoor, enclosed. Next, we have Center Suites. If you're assigned to this one, you have high-speed internet, again, cable service, and an in-unit washer and dryer. This has clubhouses, TV lounges, print stations. This one even has a podcast studio and student-focused workspaces. There's 2 resort-style pools, hot tubs, fitness centers, and a 24/7 coffee and espresso bar. So we have lots to offer at all 3 of these properties. You also have access to the rec center and all that good stuff on campus with your Tech ID. You are not trading one of those for the other. This is in addition to what you already have on campus. So now I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Albertson, and she's going to talk to you about what we can do to help you navigate finding your own space off campus.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you to everyone who's joining us for this webinar today. Yeah, so we also have the Off-Campus Housing Office, or sometimes we refer it to OCHO for shorthand, to also help students and their families who may be searching for off-campus housing Or once your student lives off campus, we're here as another support resource on campus to support them in that independent living. So if they ever have any questions or concerns as it comes to off-campus housing, we're here as a resource as well for that. Some of the services that we're able to support your students in are, if you are starting to do an off-campus housing search, we do have resources and partnered property listings available on our off-campus housing office website, where you can start comparing the amenities, price ranges, and photos and the location of different properties that are in Lubbock on our website in one place. We also conduct an annual off-campus housing fair event. This happens in early February of each year, but for students that prefer to start looking for off-campus housing in person, this is an opportunity where we have up to 36 properties at this event, and students can stop by and get additional information as well as meet different staff at different properties at this event. Throughout the year, we can also support students if they have various needs as it comes to off-campus housing. We can do this by providing connections to other related campus resources, commonly the Student Financial Aid Office or the Student Legal Services Office. And we also offer a newsletter called the Off-Campus Insider, which is sent to students and families who choose to subscribe and receive it. But we send one of those out every other month with additional information on upcoming campus events, upcoming community events in the larger Lubbock community, as well as some tips and tricks as it relates to off-campus housing for what's common for the time of year that we're in. Our next edition will be sending in August, and for example, that one is going to focus on getting settled into your apartment for the fall semester. We want to go to the next slide, please. If you are just starting your search for the off-campus housing, we do have resources available on our website to help get started and comparing options in one place. On that website, we have partnered property listings where you can start comparing information about what amenities they offer, pricing, location. We do have it listed if they are on that city bus shuttle service that is free to Texas Tech students and goes from the Texas Tech campus to certain off-campus locations as well. And we also have it noted what their lease terms are, because we do work with properties that offer short-term leasing for students that might be graduating in December as well. If you're not sure where to start on that search, that website is a really great place to start. But and then after you do that, you will have the option to sort based on what you're looking for a little bit. One first step that we often recommend is searching by, we refer to it as property type, and there are two types of properties that we commonly work with. The first one is rent by unit, and this property type is going to be what you would expect a traditional style of apartment living experience to look like, where you would be responsible for paying rent of that entire unit that you live in for that apartment. Another option that's really popular with undergraduate students and younger students is the rent by room option. This option is really nice because in this case, you would only be responsible for paying your own rent for your room. You don't necessarily have to stress on if your roommates are paying their rent for the unit. And the other thing that's nice about this option is the properties will help fill the other rooms within that unit. So you also don't necessarily have to stress on finding other roommates to fill the remaining rooms of that unit that you're living in. The other thing about rent by room is a lot of these properties also offer their own roommate matching services. And so they can, after you find a property that you're interested in, they might have services available where they can connect you with roommates that have similar living preferences to your student. After that, some other places that can start helping narrow down options are considering what your budget is with the total monthly cost. It is going to vary by property what that base rent price included each month. And so that also might change the cost depending on what utilities are or are not included. But we do have that detailed on the website as well that outlines which utilities are included in that base rent price of that property. Other common ones is the distance from campus, or if they're along that city bus shuttle service for those that do not have transportation, such as a vehicle that they plan on bringing to campus. Or if the apartment is furnished versus unfurnished is the common places that we recommend people start to narrow down our options that way. When you start your search, typically what we recommend is narrowing down your options to having a good handful that look interesting to you. Typically, we recommend finding around 3 to 5 that meet your needs and your wants. And after that, working with that property directly to schedule a tour with them. The nice thing about tours is a lot of properties do offer virtual tours as well. So whether it's easier to start this search virtually or in person, typically properties do have options for both. And the reason why we recommend starting with 3 to 5 is these tours are also going to be very telling for if this is going to be a good fit for you and your student when you get to meet their staff, get a connection with them, and see the amenities more for yourself that way. After that, each property will have its own application process where it will ask more of those logistical questions about when you would like to move in, things about income, things like that. And then if you're accepted, that is when they would reach out about proceeding to sign a lease. One thing to note before you sign any leases is leases are a legally binding agreement. And so we do recommend that students really carefully review and understand all of the terms of that lease before signing it. But we also have our Student Legal Services office as a great resource for students, and they can actually assist Texas Tech fee-paying students by reviewing that lease for free. After your student is on campus, we want to assure you that whether your student lives on or campus, their sense of belonging and connection at Texas Tech remains a priority for us. And so if they're never sure where to start or how to get involved, our office is absolutely here as a resource to help start getting them connected on campus. A couple ways to start getting connected is Texas Tech has a website called Tech Connect, and that lists all of the registered student organizations that we have on campus. We do have over 500 registered student organizations on campus, and so there is a little bit of something for everyone. And on that website, you can also filter the organizations based on your interest. And so if you're looking for something that's more athletic-based versus faith-based or something leisurely, something in between, there's something for everyone that way. And we recommend taking a look at that website and finding a student organization to get involved in. Another way to get connected with those student organizations is by attending the Raider Welcome Organization Fair. That's going to happen August 25th in the sub ballroom in the afternoon. And in addition to that, we also have Raider Welcome events that happen between August 20th to 30th, where there will be a large number of events happening on campus for students to get connected and get involved on campus. Something else for our students living off campus is even though you live off campus, all of the resources available on campus are still available to you as a student that lives off campus as well. This includes things such as tutoring resources, utilizing our student health services, the Student Counseling Center, the University Recreation Center, and more. So even if you live off campus, please know that we still have these resources that are available to support you. Our biggest tip is to attend campus events and start getting involved early as soon as you get to campus. But something that's nice about living off campus is the way that I view it is this also has an opportunity to expand our community beyond campus into the greater Lubbock community as well, which Lubbock has a lot of really fun things to offer and get involved in as well. A lot of the properties that we partner with, especially those that are classified as that rent by room property type also host events for their apartment community. And so that's another way that students can get to know their neighbor and get involved is by attending those events that are offered at the apartment or property that they live in. Or for the greater Lubbock community, there's also a lot of local events that are tracked and available to view on the website Lubbock in the Loop. This is a really neat feature of Lubbock, and it was actually designed by 2 Texas Tech alumni so that people in Lubbock have a sense of that community and can see where they can get involved in what is happening around in the city. Lubbock also has a lot of local dining, music, coffee shops, and a lot of those hidden gems are available through Visit Lubbock. They have a great Instagram page. I love looking at that to find new businesses that are opening up or just hidden gems that I wasn't aware of. And so that's a great way to understand what's available in the Lubbock community as well. And there are also a lot of volunteer opportunities to give back to the community via the Volunteer Center of Lubbock, too. Again, whether you're starting your off-campus housing search or maybe you have found your housing search, but you're just worried about what steps come next, how to get involved, we want to reiterate that the off-campus housing office and the rest of Texas Tech is here for you, and we're here for your students. Thank you all for coming to this webinar. I think this is a really great place to get started to make sure that our students are getting connected to campus. But wherever they live, they're still a part of that Raiderland community, and we are here to support them along the way.
All right. Well, thank you to our 2 wonderful speakers. You shared some really great information. I do have a couple of resources I wanted to share with our guests on our webinar. And so the first is something that would be a really wonderful way for your student to find connection, and it's called Texas Tech Trek. This is a 1-day student success conference that will help encourage our students to get connected to the university and really understand those resources. It's a, again, it's a 1-day event. It's happening on Saturday, August 22nd from 1:30 to 6:30 in the Student Union building, and includes dinner and, getting in small groups with other students and really getting to know some people. So encourage your student to register for this event. Right now, they can fill out an interest form, and we'll make sure to email them directly when registration for this event opens. So Texas Tech Trek, really great way to get your student connected. And then we also have some events coming up for you as parents and family members who are helping your student move in. So if your move-in coincides with August 21st and 22nd, we have our Refuel and Refresh events for parents and families. You can see the links in the chat. These are just a great time to relax, talk with other parents and families. We'll have light refreshments. We're trying to get some chair massages lined up because you might be sore from moving all those boxes. And you can register for this event. It is free of charge. We just ask for a registration to know how many people are coming. And that's in the Red Raider Family Network. So please register for those and contact our office if you have any questions. All right, speaking of questions, we have some time left. So we've seen lots of questions in the chat already, or sorry, the Q&A feature already. So if you have questions, please use that little Q&A button in your Zoom app and let us know what questions you have. While we're waiting, while you're thinking of your questions, some things that I saw pop up quite a few times, and I was hoping that Sarah or Kelly could speak to this. Lots of questions about the dining plans and food and how that's impacted by a student living off campus. Can you talk just a little bit more about dining options for students living off campus?
So those who have secured housing through us, through the University Student Housing Department, we are offering a fearless dining plan, which is a little less than the Matador, which is normally the lower priced dining plan that's offered. For those that are just living off campus on their own, you may purchase a commuter dining plan if you call Hospitality Services. they can set you up with a commuter plan, and that gives you 25% off anytime you use your Tech ID, and then you have dining bucks on your card, or on your ID.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the list of questions. Sarah's typing an answer to this, but this might be good for the whole group. Is there a list available, like you mentioned the off-campus housing website, like looking at lists available for properties? Is it broken down to by rent by room or rent by unit? And how would parents and families find that list?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when you go to our off-campus housing office website, which is offcampushousing.ttu.edu, there will be a button towards the top that says View Properties. After you click on that button, that is where it will take you to view all of our partnered properties that we have. And then after you are on that web page, there's an option to sort by it's listed as property type with a drop down. And in that drop down, you can select rent by room to view all of the properties that we're partnered with that offer that rent by room style pricing.
Awesome, thank you. And just as a reminder, we're going to be following up with an email later today with a list of the links that were shared and all these things. So if you can't grab that link from the chat, maybe you're watching this on your phone, don't worry about it. We will send you the link. What else do we have? So a couple of questions here. I see a question here about exemption forms. Would my student have to fill out the exemption form on the website to be assigned to TTU off campus? She wasn't able to reserve an on campus, so this is fairly new to us. Anyone have any advice on the exemption forms here?
Kelly, feel free to jump on this, but for our exemption forms, they are processed through University Student Housing's Welcome Center. That form is available online on our website, but in terms of processing and questions, those will be directed to our University Student Housing. That main housing phone number is 806-742-2661, or for email housing@ttu.edu.
Thank you, Sarah. I didn't realize I was on mute.
It always happens, doesn't it? Let's see. Okay, so here's one. How can students connect and network with the assigned roommates prior to move-in?
Can you repeat that, Christine? Sorry.
How can students connect and find out about their roommates and things like that prior to move-in?
So for those students who have secured spots with us, they can email housing@ttu.edu if they didn't receive their initial roommate information with us in the initial email communication. We'll be happy to hand that out to them via email. It is the student's name and TTU email only that we're allowed to give out. As far as the apartment complexes themselves, I'm not sure how they handle that for those students securing space on their own.
Wonderful, thank you. There's some questions in here about parking. So students having access to satellite parking. During orientation, it was mentioned that if we purchase a satellite option, the student would have access to certain lots after 2:30. What's your recommendation for off-campus students and navigating parking? And there's another one about classes or events that run after 7 p.m. How do those students secure transportation? So transportation and parking.
So I'm not a parking expert, but I can tell you that the residence lots are full, which doesn't apply to most of you listening today, but they are moving those residence hall students to commuter parking, and they're on wait lists. So the commuter satellite parking is really going to be the only option if you're just now securing parking. So there are bus routes that run till 7 p.m. There is also what we have called Raider Ride, which is through transportation and parking, and it's kind of like an on-campus Uber. You can call the number. If you go to Transportation and Parking Services website, which I've linked in the chat, you can find out more about Raider Ride and get the number for that. They will pick you up and take you wherever you need to go on campus. So that would include the satellite parking to maybe a classroom building where you're staying late at night, or the library, and then they can get you back to your vehicle if you park in commuter satellite. So that's a good option for those students that want to park just off campus, move their car from and not take the buses directly to the apartment complexes. City Bus, like I said, also, if you can catch it just off campus, you can use that anytime free with your Tech ID.
Thank you. All right, we are just a little bit over time. I am going to ask one more question out loud, and then we're going to, but you can still stay on and type your questions. We'll still do some behind the scenes answering your questions. But this one is basically about when you're looking at off-campus housing that's furnished. What does that mean? I've got someone asking, does it include dishes, flatware, pots and pans? What exactly does furnished typically mean for an off-campus apartment here in Lubbock?
Furnished is typically going to be that traditional furnishings with a bed, a mattress, some type of dresser, potentially a desk, and then some living room furniture as well, such as a couch and a coffee table. Sometimes they do even provide a TV. And so after you have one property in particular, I would definitely recommend reaching out to them to double check. But typically it includes more of that bedroom and living room furniture, but not as much those pots and pans, utensils, things like that.
All right. Well, on your screen, again, I want to thank our presenters. Y'all shared some really great information. We really appreciate you. Just some upcoming webinars. Probably doesn't apply to this group, but we are doing on-campus living next week. Student disability services and accommodations and how those work. We'll be doing that on July 28th. And then we'll be hosting a webinar called Finishing Touches, an opportunity to kind of get your last minute questions answered right before classes begin and move-in happens. So we'll be doing that on August 5th. We also have on our screen a QR code that will take you to a very brief survey. We just want to hear how we did today. So please do fill that out if you have a moment. And then once again, we'll be sending the link to the recording, these slides, and some of the links shared during our presentation with you all later on this afternoon. So thank you all for being with us. We are going to stay on for just a few more minutes. So if you have additional questions, please type those in the Q&A feature. Thank you.